Welcome to Fight Night Hearthstone Edition, featuring the top 8 players around the world. With 10,000 in prize money and regional pride on the line, who will go home the Hearthstone champion? This is Fight Night! Welcome everybody to another edition of Fight Night here at ESGN TV, where we gather the top Hearthstone players around the world for a chance to compete at Glory and up to 10,000 in prizes. Last time, we saw Other Team No Name Yet win their series 4-1 over Team DogeHouse. We had so much fun, we decided to invite them again. Let's look at what happened last time. Nimsh will win 3-0 over Trump.
Wow, he's nimshing it up.
Now Nyx gets the top deck, and he's able to do something, but he's gonna concede. Nyx drops battle number 4, and Strife Crow is gonna take the series 3-1. Will this be the Ragnaros that finishes the game? It will be. The other team, No Name Yet, gets 4,250. Congratulations. All right, guys, it's time to meet our teams. The first one from Europe and Korea and kind of America as well. We have Team DogeHouse. Team DogeHouse is very excited to be back for a shot at redemption, but they're gonna have to take it against a team that defeated them 4-1 last time. It's time to meet Praise Ragnaros. And like Ragnaros, we leave it up to RNG for the wheel to decide, because it's time to find out who our first 2 players will face off.
You know, Trump is a player that I did play at BlizzCon, but I really feel like he's more of an arena expert. I've not seen a ton of his constructed, and when I have, I've felt like it wasn't maybe the same level as, for, let's say, my teammates.
I am coming on much stronger and hope to defeat Artosis if we match up.
All right, it's time for game number 1 between Artosis versus Trump, a rematch from BlizzCon 2013 semifinals, where Trump really wants to get redemption in that department. And maybe he can do it for Team Praise Ragnaros.
Maybe.
So then what matchup are we gonna see here, Crip?
Well, it looks like we're gonna see Trump on Mage and Artosis with Paladin. This is pretty interesting because we saw in the last series, and I think in general, players who have seen Artosis play, I think he does consider his Paladin deck the strongest. So I think he's planning on getting an early lead here, and we'll see if that works out.
All right, so let's find out what's gonna happen in this best of 5 between Artosis versus Trump. Game 1 starts now.
I think in general the Mage is a little bit of an underdog just because a lot of the Paladin deck these days, and what we can see from Artosis' lineup with 2 Guardian Kings and Leon hands, you can't really rely on that late game burst, so you're gonna have to try to board control the whole way through. And the issue with the Mage, because you run so many buff cards, you're gonna see that if you get wiped out once, it may be hard to continue that push. But I mean, you know, if the Paladin doesn't get the wipes and the Mage gets the cards, it's gonna be a blowout. So we'll have to see.
Yeah, it's gonna be. I mean, it's really difficult to seize it back if the Paladin can continue to control it early. Ooh,
this is a pretty strong start from Trump.
Yeah, having that Frostbolt and the Mana Worm combination is pretty nasty.
The hand of Artosis is a little bit slow, but when you start rolling Sword of Justice with Harvest Golems, you know, it starts to get pretty crazy, and Trump may have a difficult time catching up with Sword of Justice creatures. The problem with Sword of Justice is you're behind a little bit. He has the equality. Wow, he actually used the equality.
All right.
He's trying to set up a kill on the next turn with Sword of Justice, and normally it's going to work, but if we see a Shrouded Sun Cleric, that would have been a complete waste. So I'm actually really surprised to see that.
It's a pretty gutsy move, especially since his opponent also has the coin, could have a lot of options at his disposal. But in this spot, I mean, what do you think Trump's thinking at the moment when you see inequality that early?
He pretty much knows that he's going to face the Sword of Justice, and he knows that if he does a coin Acolyte, which is the only real play that he could do right now, it's not really going to work very well without having another draw into a 3, as if he coins the Acolyte and then plays nothing on the 3rd turn, he is not very likely to challenge the creature that gets played and buffed by the Sword of Justice, because the Acolyte by himself is a very weak card. So right now I believe he's thinking of Frostbolting the opponent. Nope. He goes for the more conservative play, saves the Frostbolt.
You save the Frostbolt, he can't attack with the Sword of Justice.
Exactly.
And then you can coin the Dwarf out next turn.
Right.
If you want to do something like that. But the Sword of Justice does come out and it reduces it, but that's really good.
Artosis' risky play seems like it paid off.
All right.
I really feel that Frostbolt was among the options. And if he played the Acolyte, the Fairy Dragon would be in a decent spot. I think right here you play the Acolyte. I mean, the worst case is, you buff it with the Dark Iron and probably run into whatever he plays, which, may not work out. We may see the Blood Knight play from the opponent, but if he does like a combination of 2 creatures or something like that, he's going to be pretty well off with the Acolyte, so we'll have to see.
I think so too, and it gives you the flexibility because Mage wants to continue to accrue cards. I'm looking at Trump's deck right now. It doesn't really have that Giant element in it because you see so many smaller creatures already. No need for that.
He does go for the Acolyte there.
All right, cool. So now over to Artosis. He does have a few options at disposal. Ooh, very nice, drawing True Sword Champion, but he won't use that until much later.
Oh, the Harvest Golem is just a clear choice here. Now Trump, even that he has drawn the Dark Iron, it doesn't do him that much good. Most likely here we'll see the Dark Iron and probably hit to the face is what I would do. There's no sense in attacking the Golem, but if the Golem attacks into your Acolyte, you can kill it with a ping next turn, which sets it up for a really nice kill. So what the opponent is thinking, what Artosis is probably thinking is like, I can take out that Dark Iron if I want. The Equality draw is pretty good as well, just because you can attack the Golem into the Acolyte, and then you can Equality and use the sword to take out the 4/4. And in addition to Equality, you can play your second Harvest Golem, which sets up for an extremely powerful board. To do so, though, he's going to be down another 4 life. And right now we see that he doesn't have any gain life in his hand.
Yeah.
So
well, other than True Silver, I guess, but that's not.
Well,
really
that's not really. Very rarely does that make the difference. Right. So right now he's thinking if he really wants to take that amount of damage this early, because he doesn't really know what kind of cards his opponent has right now. The real curveball that we've seen is the Dark Iron. I think leading up to this turn, Artosis wasn't sure what type of mage he was playing against.
Now he knows.
Yeah. So he probably had a suspicion with the Mana Worm. The Mana Worm is not usually played in like the Freeze or the Giants. But, when you see the Dark Iron buffing an Acolyte, it's pretty clear that Trump is playing an aggro mage, at least in his eyes right now.
And I'm trying to look at Artosis' deck in response, and he does have several of them because he has a Argus, Defender of Argus, like a Sunwalker even. So he will be able to deal with it as the game progresses, but again, doesn't want to get his health count too low this early on, like you said. I like that you pointed it out.
The main issue playing against an aggro mage is, they have all the cards that are really painful. So they have the fireballs, they have the pyroblast, they have all that crap, and it really gets out of hand in the late game sometimes.
Check this out. Artosis is going to use his second Equality.
Yeah, pretty much the exact move that I thought he would do.
Yep.
I think this is a very good play. His opponent has the option to ping off the Golem, but it doesn't really accomplish very much. It takes a 3/1 off the board and puts a 3/2 on the board because eats up the last charge. Yeah. Takes up the last charge there. So a lot of options here. I think the Sylvanas is quite strong. I don't believe the Paladin deck runs Silence. He's still got the 30 life, so if his opponent tries to rush him down, he's going to be okay. If he tries to develop the board, Sylvanas is going to be even better. I think that's what I would do, but there are so many options just because he has so many cards in his hand.
Yeah, he has, the coin can put out an Archer Protector, but that trade wouldn't be so good for him. Things like, you never know, some people just try to let Arcane Missiles pick off things, and you can drop other things as well.
Well, if he really wants to clear the board, and I don't think it's necessary, but if he does want to, he can Frostbolt 3/4, putting at 1 health, and if he gets a really good Arcane Missiles, he might be able to finish it off with a ping.
But I do think Sylvanas in the end is a good play. Oh, but a very nice draw here.
Certainly.
From Artosis.
Peacekeeper makes Sylvanas just a lot less threatening, but the Battlecry is still kind of a problem. So it's pretty hard to guess how he'll play out this turn.
Well, it does have 6 mana, and I mean, you could develop the board more as well. But
the problem is he doesn't want to give away one of those harvest golems. I mean, those are pretty buff little creatures there. I don't know. It's a pretty tough turn for Artosis.
Artosis, of course, has faced Trump earlier in BlizzCon semifinals, but he kind of stomped him using things like his Paladin deck as well. And definitely in the back of Trump's mind. You know, did Trump mention anything to you before he started the series with Artosis about his mindset at all going into this?
No, I'm not too sure. This is a really, really risky play in my opinion, because Trump has the option to attack into the 4/4 with Sylvanas, pinging his own Sylvanas.
And then stealing something.
Right. So he's pretty much going to bet on, you know, not getting that 1/1 creature.
Yeah, taking the token or anything else.
Right.
75% chance of taking something very useful from his opponent.
Well, Leroy is interesting there.
We don't see too many Leroy Jenkins in mage decks.
Yeah, certainly not.
I kind of like it sometimes. You can pair it with like a Kona Cold to be really effective.
He could also try to control the board. He can send the 1/5 into the 3/1, and he can kill the 4/4 with the Argent Commander. Problem is, Argent Commander kind of dies pretty quickly after that. But it does seem like he likes the idea of that play.
Oh, take the other Harvest Golem out.
And then Arcane Missiles. Hope for some really nice RNG here. Let's see what
go.
he gets. Good,
One.
bad, bad. That's pretty bad as far as it could have gone, but certainly not the worst.
Yeah, and in the end, Sylvanas is still in a weak state as well, so he keeps it at a pretty low range. Turn 7 for Artosis, he draws his Shattered Sun Cleric.
This really doesn't do very much. I think this turn he really needs to take Sylvanas off the board.
Yeah, definitely, because you don't want him to pursue any longer. And Artosis has also lost a significant amount of health, 11 health, and any other pressure could put him within danger zones.
Yeah, that's really the problem with playing against Aggro Mage. You really don't know where you're at in terms of how much life you have to work with. And life in Hearthstone is pretty much a resource. A lot of people see it that way. You know, you use it up to win the game, and you just don't have any clue where you're at when your opponent has 5 cards and hasn't used any.
I don't see a way for Artosis to get rid of Sylvanas without losing one of his own minions, unless I'm missing something here, Crib.
Well, he can kill off his 4/3, kill off Sylvanas with oh. Okay, yeah, that makes sense, because he wants to get the 2 damage in first. And now he can kill it off with True Sliver if he wants, or he can, you know, go into an aggressive mode.
Yeah,
he does want to
potentially drop a token, Blood Knight, or something like that.
This is a pretty good move. This shows that Artosis is quite familiar with what he's playing against, because the mage deck is running just a significant number of buff cards, which when we flip over to Trump here, we'll see. You know, so he still has the Shattered Sun, he has the Dark Iron Dwarf. So even though that was a 2/1, which is not that menacing, you know, either of those cards could have taken out his play for the turn. That's why, even though it's kind of wasteful to use a card as powerful as True Silver, just take out a 2/1 creature, you know, you're essentially protecting the value of the other creature.
Yeah, and establishing the firm board control and tempo against his opponent. Now, we do see that Trump has a Frostbolt that he can choose to eliminate that Blood Knight.
Yep.
And maybe could fill out with maybe Fairy Dragon, Shattered Sun, or something like that.
Yep.
I think it's a pretty good move.
Well, that Fairy Dragon's pretty much dead, but he does get to keep the 3/2 unless his opponent draws something else to deal with it, like a Consecrate or perhaps an Argent Commander.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if those are in the deck. No, he does not run an Argent Commander. Sylvanas here is a pretty good play, but he's kind of approaching that late game turn where, you know, you might get Pyroblasted. So even though Sylvanas looks pretty good here, it's difficult to really say whether it'll put him within, you know,
critical health.
range. Yeah, critical health range. That's right.
And it's already going to be turn 8 next for Trump. So yeah, now we're starting to hit.
Yeah. So if Trump draws like a series of spells here, he may just decide to just go all out for the face, and I think it would lead to a win.
All right, we'll see what Trump got. Did he get the spell he wanted?
He did.
Oh, he got the Pyroblast. All right, nice.
Well, this is a point where Trump should think about
doing as much damage. Yeah, Leroy with the Dark Iron Dwarf. And
I think Leroy is the better play, just because even though your opponent probably doesn't have many taunts. He may find his way into one next turn. And
Yeah,
then
you never
Leroy
know.
won't be able to do his damage.
Something like a defender could just completely ruin his day.
Exactly.
All right, so the power of unity buffing each other as the Dark Iron Dwarf is going to plant onto the field. Or is he? Don't give anyone else +2.
Well, if you're going to play Leroy, you're probably going to want to play either the Fairy Dragon or the Dwarf. And if you play the Dwarf, you might as well buff the Shadowed Sun Cleric.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to invest too much into Leroy, which is certainly going to die the turn after.
All right, so Trump gonna go for it. And he puts his opponent at 6th health.
Certainly this is the correct move. Oh, wow, what a top deck.
Oh, man. Epic draw here for Artosis
Yep.
as the Guardian of Kings restores 6 health, puts him at 12.
It does put him at 12, and he is capable of clearing the board, but it is going to be quite taxing. And, you know, if Trump draws into any card that does damage or has charge, he's still going to win this game.
Yeah, and so it's going to be difficult still for Artosis to be able to come back from the situation, but he can steal one of his opponent's minions.
Yep, he can steal the 4/4, so he's going to have a 4/4 and a 3/2 at the end of the turn, which is quite strong, actually.
And have a token in Guardian of Kings out.
Yep.
But he knows what to do.
Yeah, he knows what to do here. Trump is still drawn live, so it's definitely anyone's game right now. But you know, that draw does put Artosis from a hopeless situation to, in fact, being a little bit ahead.
Yeah, he does have an opportunity to make a big swing, assuming, well, Trump doesn't really have much frost in his hand, I believe, right? He has the Pyroblast.
Well, he's actually got, if my math is correct, he's got a 12 damage on the board with the Recruits has 13 damage. So the Shattered Sun, oh, actually, I forgot that he didn't even swing. So certainly, if he draws it to Avenging Wrath next turn, he will have lethal.
Oh, that's not a card that that Trump was hoping he would get.
Well, Trump right now, he's going to want to fill the board, and he's going to want to ping his opponent for 1. Pyroblast does 10, and you can ping him for 1 when you have 10 mana, and next turn he will have 10 mana. So right now, I think Trump's move is very, very obvious.
Yeah,
And
put him within
if
critical range.
Artosis fails to draw another heal or another card that will lead to a win, such as Avenging Wrath, it will be over for Artosis. So Artosis, he drew 1 card to bail him out. He's going to have to draw another one in a row to bail him out of the situation.
So is it just Avenging Wrath? Is there any other cards?
Oh yeah, if he draws a heal, then he's going to clear the board, and Trump has nothing. So
All right, well, the moment of truth. What did Artosis get?
Nothing.
Oh, we got our Defender of Argus.
it's almost enough damage, but not quite.
So he can get 3 damage from the cards he has in his hand, plus the
Yeah, he's
13.
He's got 13 on board, and he can pump it to 3, so he's got 16 to the face.
Wow, that's so hard to swallow if you're Artosis and you know what's
Yeah.
about to happen.
Yeah. Well, he got pretty lucky last turn. I mean,
That's
it
true.
was almost there.
Yeah,
Certainly almost
you can
there.
make an argument he should have lost earlier. But Artosis played excellently with some of the decisions. He did make a pretty big risk early on with the equality.
I think both players played very well. Artosis played a risk, and you know, he would probably know his deck better than anyone. We've seen him play a very similar deck of BlizzCon. We saw him play pretty much the same deck earlier in the tournament. So he probably knows that if he is playing against Aggro Mage, he has to take risks to win, and so he does. And sometimes they pay off. It did, but in the end, it wasn't quite enough.
Well, there you go. Trump takes game number 1 over Artosis in a very tightly contested Mage versus Paladin
Yep.
matchup.
Trump gets a win on the board in the tournament. How about that?
All right. Good job, Trump.
Yep.
He must be really happy with himself.
I think he is, because Artosis' gamble was that he'd play his strongest deck first.
Yeah.
I don't know if he expected to really run into Aggro Mage, as I don't believe anyone on Praise Ragnaros' team has ran Aggro Mage in the past.
But now Artosis has a Mage and a Warlock left. Do you have any recommendations on what you think you'll pick?
Well, I'm not too sure what his Mage consists of, but oh, it looks like it's the Giant Mage. The Giant Mage, I think, does at least 50% against it. I think the issue with the Giant Mage is that he knows that his opponent's playing Druid and Paladin, and I don't believe those guys are very likely to lose against the Giant Mage.
Okay. In the end, I mean, with these kinds of decks too, your starting hand matters so much on how you get your leg up on your opponent, especially on an aggro mage. And Trump could get the most godly hand possible, something like Mana Worm, Coin, or Cream
Right,
and
right.
stuff.
If you draw a slow hand against, like, you know, the crushing hand of the aggro mage, you're going to
almost
be
doesn't
really
matter.
sad at the end of the 2-minute match.
The timer is up, so let's get ready for game number 2 between Artosis versus Trump. Who's gonna take it? We're about to find out.
I think the mage is a slightly better option, but I feel the warlock is quite bad against the other 2 decks. So I think he might just be throwing it out there for the chance that he gets a better starting hand than his opponent. And right now, that seems to not be the case.
Yeah, doesn't really have early game options.
Oh,
Meanwhile,
hello.
Wow, that is almost as close as you can to get an ideal starting hand.
That arcane missiles, if it snipes a blood imp, is gonna provide a huge swing in momentum.
Oof, and Artosis, he does get an imp in the beginning, which is nice, but still, he has to kind of hope that RNGesus
I feel that without that imp, it was pretty much a hopeless situation.
Yeah, he would have lost so much health early on, because the arcane missiles and the mana worm, then it starts.
The flame imp is really the only
damage.
card that punishes the mana worm at this point, and you know, I don't believe Trump is going to change very much about this hand, and you know, if he does end up doing so, the mana worm and the arcane missiles can lead to probably about a 50% chance to win right off the bat.
What do you think about Trump choosing to keep the Acolyte of Pain early on? Do you think that's all right?
Yeah, I think that's all right. You know, with this matchup, even though you're behind at the mage very often around in later turns, the burn that you just saw Trump draw is going to just, you know, win the game right at the end.
All right, the moment of truth. I mean, the play is pretty clear-cut for Trump. Mana Worm coin into the arcane missiles.
It's a bit risky. You know, Trump is a bit of a safe player. I think it's possible that he wouldn't make this play, but it looks like he is. He's feeling aggressive with the aggro. It's a 50% chance to kill the imp,
and he gets the imp. Artosis must be really upset right now.
He needs to draw Soulfire to get rid of that card immediately.
Yeah, and you just gotta roll with the punches. Artosis, what did he draw? He can life tap and try to swing big, and he doesn't get it. He gets a power overwhelming while draining 2 life, and already just after that,
this game is actually over. There's probably no hope for Artosis, as a matter of fact.
It's gonna be really tough. What does he draw on turn number 3?
He doesn't have great cards in his hand.
Oh man.
Yeah, these cards are just too slow. Trump right now can just go face.
2 power
and he's got the Pyroblast on 8.
Oh man, he's got 2 Pyroblasts.
Oh, with 2 Pyroblasts, he can actually go for board control. Is the funny part.
Yeah, because you can keep your opponent, because he knows Warlock doesn't really heal in this matchup, and he's got turn 8 and turn 9 win conditions set.
Oh, Voidwalker. Shattered Sun Cleric actually provides her a very good play. He can one-shot the Cleric, and with the Voidwalker, it would challenge the Mana Worm. So, actually, he might be able to turn this game around, but he is on a clock that ends in...
4 to 5 turns?
Well, he might not be at 10 in 5 turns, but if he draws Fireball, he certainly will be.
Well, we'll see how
right now, the clock is at 9.
All right, so... We'll see if Artosis can come back. Not quite at the 11th
I think the move
hour.
here is very clear. He's just probably thinking out all the possible scenarios.
Yeah. At this point, he knows life tapping is not in the question.
Oh no, you just get an excellent setup here. You one-shot the Acolyte, which is very important to kill it before it gets buffed. And you know, having the Voidwalker to challenge the Worm is so powerful.
All right, so Artosis is going to pass it over to Trump. We'll see what he draws, and there's 2 cards in response.
If he draws fire... Okay.
Wow, what a dream scenario.
All right.
In the most literal sense, this is absolutely exactly what he wanted. How many times did you guys pray to Ragnaros today?
Well, it's not Ragnaros that's coming through here. It is the Pyroblast. Maybe we'll have to...
Dance to the fire gods.
Yeah, maybe we'll have to change our name for the next round if it ever happens.
Pyroblast. So Trump...
He has the option to trade and ping, which results in less potential damage from the opponent. But he's also considering he does go with the Defender of Argus, which takes the challenge off of the Voidwalker. The problem here is in the end the Mana Worm still dies. So effectively what he did there is he played a 3/3 for 2 mana, which is pretty good as far as tempo is concerned.
And so now we have Artosis on the clock, seeing what he can do in turn 5. He has Dark Iron Dwarf to buff if he wants to, but his minions are so low in health they'll almost certainly...
It just depends where Artosis feels he is in this spot. And any time that he uses a tap, I think he might actually lose the game. I think even 1 tap is going to put him on the turn 8 clock rather than turn 9, and he's going to need that turn to try to seal the game.
Oh, he's going to trade both of his minions out and
certainly he had to do that.
And
This is a very good play. Buffs up the, very plain-looking creature, but the Divine Shield, now being 3 attack, makes it quite a powerful one.
Sylvanas coming out for turn 5 from
Yep.
Trump. And
Sylvanas is one of those cards where you force your opponent to trade, and this essentially extends the clock for Trump. So again, a very, very good card to have in this case. Actually, Artosis drew into a Silence, which is quite strong here. The Silence does allow him to maintain the tempo of his deck. It's not really that strong, just because if you play the Silence, you don't have anything good to play, and he's probably considering tapping, which we know is really a bad idea.
Yeah. But how can you expect your opponent to have 2 Pyros and a Fireball right now after 5 turns? So
Well, the second Pyro is really, it doesn't matter. The second Pyro was good when he didn't have the Fireball, but now he has the Fireball. You're not going to heal as a Warlock.
no, and he even has a Frostbolt for good measure as well, in case he wants to add more for turn
Right.
6. Fireball, Frostbolt.
Oh, I think we're going to see Frostbolt just being used on a creature when he just needs that, little bit of extra defense.
And that's kind of what makes Sylvanas so challenging, because even after you silence, it's still a 5/5 minion that can do damage, so you still have to kind of confront it.
Oh, he's really agonizing about the decision to tap here. Wow, he does tap.
Okay, so he taps.
The Blood Imp is normally a very good card, but right here it's not really going to do anything.
What was he hoping for when he tapped, though?
Well, if he drew into like a Soulfire, he could save his Dark Iron Dwarf. And he probably doesn't value the cards in his hand that highly, even though, he is capable of doing some significant burst damage with 2 Power Overwhelmings. I just don't see it being enough. Oh, and
Ignoring the Sylvanas.
yeah, I think this is actually the right play, because the only way he's going to win is by taking out all the cards, is by taking out the opponent.
Oh my gosh, a Defender of Argus, which gives him the taunt and allows
Very
him.
good stuff.
Yeah, Trump's getting what he needs to, and I think this is definitely very relieving for him, because to be able to get all the cards he needs to at the right times.
The problem here is the 3/2 Divine Shield. So he may give Sylvanas taunt and perhaps take out the Dark Iron, I believe, but then he's still going to have to pick off that shield off of the... Yeah, he's in a good spot, though. I don't think his opponent can do 23 damage right now.
No, I'm calculating the most they can do, assuming nothing happened, would be 21. I think if he had like a Soulfire as well, if he draws it next turn.
Yeah, he's gonna have to finish with Burst, and that's gonna involve drawing the cards. And he took the risk last turn.
Yeah.
I imagine he'll just take it again, honestly.
Yeah, I wouldn't. No one could really blame him. And I guess right now he's really mulling what ideas he wants in his head. But in this scenario, you would say to go for.
Yeah,
just a
I
Argus
think
play.
he's probably thinking about Frostbolting the Owl, which I think is just not really good enough. He may also be thinking of just going straight for his opponent as well. If he does do the Argus and ping the opponent, he can do the Frostbolt Fireball next turn. And if he has a creature on board, he might be able to finish him off on turn 7. But I think that's a little optimistic.
Yeah, it's assuming everything goes perfectly once again.
Yeah.
So he's gonna think about dropping the Argus and buffing Sylvanas to 6 and going straight for it.
Going for the optimistic route.
All right. Oh, well, semi-optimistic route. All right, so we're gonna try to take out the Owl, reduce his opponent's aggressive options, and in the end, as much as he was going for something that he feels like is in a really good spot, Artosis
No, that's
doesn't
not a
draw
card
the
you can
card
play.
he needs.
The Argent Commander is really good here. It allows him to push just with Divine Shields, and he's probably going to need to kill that 3/3 creature. I don't know what he expects that Trump has, but now that he's used the Frostbolt, Trump actually can't kill him on 7. But with a move that aggressive from Artosis' side,
You feel like he has
you kind of feel like he has it. So I feel like he actually does have to kill the 3/3 creature. So probably what we're going to see is just a board control move with the Argent Commander and the other Divine Shield creature running into Sylvanas, and the 4/5 hitting into the 3/3. That actually puts Trump on a little bit of a rough course, as with 3 damage from the Squire, 4 from the Dwarf, that's 7. another 4, he's 11, and then he has the
2 power overwhelmings and a blood imp, so that's 22.
yeah.
Wow, 22, and if he draws a Soulfire,
Yep.
I mean, Artosis is not out of it quite yet.
Not quite.
But then, if anything, like a Blizzard gets drawn, if I'm Trump, if he has any answer to these minions.
He may actually go for the face here. He may go like super crazy.
Ooh, that's actually a good point, because if he does, he sets up another win condition and forces. But then he loses his Argent Squire, or his Argent Commander, excuse me. At the very least. So he trades that damage earlier. But he does get the damage in. It's a really tough situation, but it's still a small sliver of hope for Artosis to come back here.
Yeah. There are cards to draw, but they're a bit hard to imagine. They also count on Trump not drawing like another Frostbolt here.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, Trump he's also running, I believe, Cone of Cold. He's running Blizzards. Any one of those is going to stop the aggression cold.
Yeah, honestly, I'm reading stuff. He hasn't dropped an Argent Commander yet. He still has those Cones of Colds. I mean, honestly, Trump still sits in a really good probability of doing. Oh, whoa! Artosis.
Well, if you attack with the Dwarf and the 3/3, you might as well attack with the Imp as well.
Yeah. Well, I guess he's committed.
I think a face attack here is a bit bad, but
I think he's calculating his potential damage, and
Yeah.
so he puts him at 22. If he still trades, it still gives him.
yeah, if it puts on 18, he does have the win for the turn. So that could be what he's thinking.
But Artosis, is that really what you want to do?
I would make this trade 100%.
All right. Well, you have Crypt's input. I would also trade too, because that's just kind of the player that I play as well, or the kind of playstyle that I play.
Nope.
He's gonna go for the
To the
face.
face.
And what will be the card that decides it? A Frostbolt.
Yeah.
Wow, pretty clutch.
Yeah, game's over.
Yeah, so he can Frostbolt.
Well,
and
Frostbolt Fireball, that's 9 plus the 3, that's 12. That is game over.
Right there.
That risk that Artosis took did not pay off at all.
But it was a pretty good attempt.
Yep. It does seem that Artosis seems to be playing pretty risky against this mage. I think he knows he's the underdog, and in general, I think he has the right idea.
All right.
Sometimes it's paying off, but that time it certainly didn't.
Trump takes game number 2 against Artosis and prays Ragnaros with a hot start, 2-0 over their first opponent.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So Artosis is down 2 games against his opponent. His last option is the mage. And
I
have
feel
mage
the
versus
mage v mage does a little bit better than the warlock versus the aggro mage. So
That was the one you were thinking he was going to pick earlier.
yeah. But the problem here is, I don't mean to reveal too much out of my team's decks, but with the druid and the paladin on the bench, that mage has a very slim chance of turning this all around and closing it in for Artosis.
The mage seems to be struggling with those decks specifically. So Trump feeling really good, 2-0 over his opponent. Still has one more to seal the deal.
Yep.
And 15 seconds on the clock for Artosis to kind of
figure
out how he wants
at this
to do
point,
it.
there's not too much to talk about. You really just reflect on your match and how it went, and probably just easing his nerves a little bit. You got this, bro. You got this. The Giants, they're OP.
Trump has a card game background too, and I don't know. I don't think he's a good constructed player though. He's more of an arena guy. Whenever I saw Trump play constructed, I was like, yeah, this guy doesn't know what he's doing.
I used to play with Artosis back in the beta when I just got the key. We used to play a lot. He's a very good player. He always likes to try out new decks and stuff. He's been crafting stuff. I know he won BlizzCon. I mean, BlizzCon wasn't the most competitive, so as far as that being a big gameplay achievement, I don't think so, but it's more it's a cool thing for fame and stuff like that.
And it comes down to how things fall for game number 3. What's going to drop? Some Giants? Will it be Artosis? We'll find out right now.
I think the last time we saw this matchup, the Giants mage versus the aggro mage, was actually Trump playing the Giants mage, and I believe Nimsh was the aggro mage, and Nimsh actually crushed Trump that game.
That's right.
Yeah, so the history of this tournament shows that the aggro mage should win, though I think in general it's a very close matchup.
Yeah, and again, starting hands can dictate so much. Trump got
Certainly.
he really got all the cards he needed and then some insurance as well.
Well, that second Powerball is actually just a pure dead card against the Warlock. If you're facing like someone who heals, that kind of hand is real winner though.
All right, so game number 3 begins. Artosis.
Well, he's
gets a
actually
Novice
mulling the
Engineer.
Molten Giant. That's not a bad play in general, but if the opponent has a ridiculous hand, that's one of the cards that lets you come back in the game.
Trump drawing 2 Cones of Coals. It's a really cool animation, by the way.
Yeah, the Cone of Colds are strong cards. The main issue with them, it really relies on the opponent. Wow, 2 Doomsayers. It really relies on the opponent having the Giants to stop. I mean, there's no other real creatures you need to stop in this deck.
But then again, Trump still doesn't know exactly what his opponent is running at the moment. So he still has to kind of feel out what Artosis' mage deck is. But he has 3 games to kind of figure it out.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't by game 3, well, I think you guys need to look for a new teammate if that's the case.
Well, if he does Novice Engineer and follows it up with nothing, I mean, if he drops the Doomsayer, it's the most obvious deck in the world.
Yep. Well,
That's what he does.
been revealed.
This is a pretty good play. It's a bit risky. Well, actually, no, it's not that risky. It's almost impossible to do 7 damage right now. So Trump is just going to go for the face and just going to trade the Doomsayer for the Fairy Dragon. And on Artosis' side, it's not really a big deal because he has the other in his hand. So actually, that was a very good play on Artosis' half.
But doesn't really have a good 3-drop.
Well, with the Giants deck, you're really just wasting time until you kill your opponent in 1 turn.
Stacking cards.
Yeah.
And Artosis just probably will ping and pass it along to Trump.
Well, that's how it goes with this one. The Fairy Dragon is a very annoying card for the Giants mage to deal with because if your creatures are not strong enough to challenge them, and well, they're not, you have the problem of, you know, what can you really do to kill a Fairy Dragon?
Yeah, especially if they place in the middle, the Cone of Cold can't
Right.
do anything to it.
Right.
It becomes really annoying.
Absolutely.
So now we have Artosis going to Frostbolt and kill it off, and again, just neuter any aggression while he waits for his cards.
Yeah, certainly as the game draws out, Artosis will gain advantage, and Trump right now is really just trying to seal the deal as fast as possible. His hand is not that great for that,
Yeah.
but
Cone of Cold against a deck like this is pretty dead too.
it's actually not bad.
Yeah, you think so?
Yeah, there's 2 win conditions for the mage. Well, there's I think 3 because he's running the Archmage. Yeah, the Archmage Antonidas. So 1 win condition is
Okay.
uncontrolled Archmage Archonitis. The 2nd win condition is Pyros to the face, and the 3rd is the Giants. And if you go heavy on the Giants and you get Kona Colded twice, you're actually going to lose. And funny enough, that's exactly what happened when Trump lost with his Giants deck. He played the Giants, that was the win condition, and his opponent drew into 2 Kona Colds and Blizzard, which were actually all the freezing effects in the deck.
Well, we'll see if that comes into play. Artosis has to deal with the Argent Commander, which is...
That's a pretty
Yeah,
annoying
yeah.
card to deal with right now. He can deal with it with a Frostbolt, just pinging it off, sending a Frostbolt to the face.
He also runs an Ice Barrier. That's a card that divides people in terms of its usefulness. What do you
Certainly.
think about Ice Barrier?
Well, when you're facing another aggro mage, I think it's pretty good. The problem with Ice Barrier is you don't want to cast it too early because, you know, if you keep your life too high, you're actually never going to be able to cast your Giants.
Yeah.
But if you are in that sweet spot, you know, 10, 12, 11 life, and you got Ice Barrier stacked up, and you got your Ice Block up just for insurance, you know, you're going to be pretty well off.
Artosis flirting with the idea of playing a Frost Nova, although still he doesn't want to lower his health too much for his opponent. I guess just buy some time because he does have another Frost Nova in his hand
Well-
with the Doomsayer. Oh, whoa. Oh.
Wow. That seems really puzzling.
All right. Well, he clearly has a plan for something. I guess he's confident with the cards in his hand. He can keep stalling.
He might be trying to bait out like a fireball or something, I would imagine. Not going to work because Trump doesn't have one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He
there's nothing Trump can do.
He doesn't really have an answer to that. He could. But at the same time, Trump can't play any cards really on this turn either, unless he wants to lose them, toss them away.
You can play the Acolyte, ping the Acolyte. It's not particularly useful, but yeah, decides against it. Pretty good decision in my opinion still.
But now Trump knows 2 Doomsayers are out of the deck, so he doesn't have to worry about that again.
Right.
Ho-ho.
Wow, Archmage draw. That's really good because he just saw that, you know, his opponent probably doesn't have a fireball.
Yeah.
So if you don't have a fireball and you play Archmage Antonidas, the opponent has to deal with it, and he's probably thinking, you know what, I might be able to bait out a Pyroblast, and that is pretty
That's
good.
pretty clutch, especially against this aggro mage.
Yeah.
All right, well, Artosis I mean, any other play he really has, he doesn't really have anything else other than...
Yeah, it's one of those ping, do nothing
Yeah.
type turns, or it's Archmage. I think Archmage is the correct play.
Well, he has
but,
so
you know,
many spells to follow
yeah,
up with
these
it, too.
these decks are just so complicated to play that you know, Artosis may have something else in mind.
But this is, again, like you said, one of these win conditions that he can set for himself, and if for some reason Trump can't deal with it, then we have ourselves a real big fireball party.
It's one of those risky plays. And we just saw Artosis, you know, overclock his risk factor. So I think we're going to end up seeing him play that card.
Yeah, I think he's feeling pretty gambly, and it's one of those scenarios where you're down 0-2. You kind of have to swing big sometimes to come up big.
Well, if you play that card and your opponent cannot deal with it, you're going to win the game. That's really it.
Is he really going to think about playing Ice Barrier
He
instead?
does. Well, he does seem to go a little bit safe with this deck.
Yeah. Wait for it.
A bit inconsistent for him, but again, the deck is very complicated to play. I don't really know what the best objectively play is.
Oh, well, no, this is also
Good thing he didn't, because it was going to die.
Yeah. Leroy Jenkins drawn here for Trump, as now he can, well, he still doesn't know that it's Ice Block, but he usually assumes it's Ice Block, but the funny thing is it's Ice Barrier.
Yeah, well, with Leroy, you really want to have him as like a finisher.
Oh, absolutely. Well, you do have Cone of Cold if you want to combine that, but generally speaking, yeah, as a finisher, it's great.
Yeah, in the later turns, you're gonna see that most of your creatures are just gonna be frozen and be killed. You know, they're gonna have giants to run them into your creatures if they need to. So it can work early on, but I don't know if it's enough an advantage right now. Like, Trump does not have other spells in his hand, so he has to win with creatures right now.
And it's so interesting because he, again, doesn't want to drop the health too low for his opponent this early without a response, because then the giants start coming out, and it can completely overwhelm him.
I think you're the correct players to put the Acolyte in the middle and just drop some cards, and that does seem like the play he wants to make. So very good stuff here. You put the Acolyte in the middle, your opponent can Cone of Cold it. He actually has a Cone of Cold, but if he does, he's going to draw an extra card. And you really don't want to give the Aggro Mage cards, because as we know, if they have the perfect combination of them, it's pretty hard to stop.
Yeah, so again, good, small, subtle things, but overall good play from Trump. Now we go down to turn number 8. Artosis draws a Fireball.
Pretty good. He may be trying to set up for a kill here. We may see Archmage into Frost Nova on 9, which is pretty common.
Yeah, and then give yourself that Fireball and essentially...
I think, though, what he's
Eternal
thinking is
Fireballs.
pinging the shield off the Squire and doing Blood Mage into Cone of Cold. It is going to result in another card off the Acolyte, which kind of sucks, but you know, I don't think there was much of a way around this one.
Yep, so he gets 2 minions down and freezes the Acolyte, but yeah, if Trump doesn't have anything, he can ping his own Acolyte as well, or kill off...
Hello.
Oh, wow. Hold that thought. A Pyroblast being drawn, as well as Arcane Missiles for the Echo draw.
Well, Trump has a lot of damage right now, and I don't think he expects the opponent to run Ice Barrier.
Yeah.
So if he goes all in and fails, it will actually result in a loss here.
Ice Barrier doesn't proc off of a spell, does it?
No, it only procs off of creature attacking, and that's why I mentioned it. He's going to consider Leroy as a Fireball, but it's actually going to heal the opponent for 2.
and while giving his opponent 2 extra minions, which it doesn't really matter.
No, not with Cone of Cold,
No.
certainly not.
So in this position, what will Trump end up doing? The Leroy seems pretty logical.
Oh, he's probably just giving it a try, going for some damage. This is not really that great for Trump, because we're gonna see most likely the Archmage into Freeze combo, and it's gonna bait out the Pyroblast. That's gonna stop the aggression cold.
And while arming himself with now 2 Fireballs.
Yeah. Cone of Cold is also a pretty good play if he wants to not do the Archmage play. But it looks like he's hovering over the card. This is probably what he had in mind all along.
Yeah, to at least go for a safe route, get that guaranteed Fireball.
Well, Archmage Antonitis is about to get Pyroblast. We're pretty much going to see that next turn.
Well, that's something you don't see every game, but it's really cool. And honestly, if you have the choice between a Pyroblast and 2 Fireballs, it's still pretty good. Defender of Argus gets drawn here for Trump, and he has absolutely no
getting
answer.
Pyroblast.
Yeah, he needs to
there's,
Pyroblast.
there's no way around it.
He has to. There's just nothing else he can really do.
Well, he can actually see that his opponent doesn't have an Ice Block up. So if he's feeling really ambitious,
Pyroblast him.
yeah.
I don't think that's in Trump's MO.
Well, the thing is, if he did the Pyroblast into ping, or Pyroblast like Arcane Missiles or something, and he draws into another Pyroblast, he would actually just win the game.
That's leaving it up to RNG, man. And that's always really difficult to pull off.
Well, right here, you have a very easy Cone of Cold play, in my opinion.
Cone of Cold, and then ping it off.
That's right.
And then you
Easy
have 4
stuff.
mana left.
Well, you're not doing much of the other 4 mana. You can Fireball, hoping to draw into a Pyro. You know, you're kind of getting up there. You have the 2 Fireballs for 12. You have the Frostbolt for 3. You're at 15. You can ping the same turn. You're at 16. So you're really close to Pyro range. If you draw Pyro, you're going to be pretty well off. So Fireballing here is actually a pretty good turn.
Yeah, I think so too. And then, interestingly enough, it's 21 versus 21 health with almost the same amount of cards.
Yeah.
So after, I believe, 12 rounds, now we have Artosis. I think he's calculating the probability of drawing something like a Pyro soon.
Mm-hmm.
And he's going to go for the Fireball.
Goes for the Fireball. This Giants deck has a lot of draw, and it has, it has all the spells that you need. He hasn't drawn the Pyroblast yet. Though Trump is not really that bad of a spot. The main issue is that the creatures that he has, they're all buff creatures.
Yeah.
But he doesn't have one that's just a creature. So he's going to have to waste one of these. I think if it was me, I would just waste the Shattered Sun Cleric, just buff it up with 2 attack from the Dwarf, and go for a ping to the face.
Too many Indians and not enough Chiefs
Yeah.
to lead the way in terms of the buffs. As right now, Trump's still kind of wrestling which minions he wants to put out in order.
I think right now Trump is actually a bit behind, just because he had to waste one of his Pyroblasts on nothing, and also because Artosis has the Flame Strike in the hand.
Yeah.
So the first wave of creatures is going to be nullified, and Trump is playing kind of like a buff-based aggro mage. So when you have your board cleared, you're in a little bit of trouble.
Especially if it's it could be a 3-for-1 in that regards.
Well, he cannot play 3 creatures this turn. That's 11 mana. But if Artosis decides to wait, then that's certainly not the correct play though.
All right, so we have Artosis. What does he draw? An Ice Block.
That's
a
exactly
very
what he
important
needs.
Clutch card.
Yep. Does go for the Flame Strike. Pretty easy stuff here. Flame Strike, Ice Block. Very, very easy turn. He has insurance against dying in 1 turn, which is not really possible anyway at this point, but he can use up, he can saturate his entire mana pool from this point on.
So now Trump draws the Frostbolt, but his position is even worse than it was the previous turn.
It's not terrible. I mean, if he draws into his other Pyro, he's actually doing pretty well. But he's probably thinking it's about that time where he may need to just go for face.
Yeah.
And that is what he's doing. It's not going to pay off that well, as his opponent has the Molten Giant in hand. But in general, this is what you have to do.
Oh, he's got 2 Molten Giants now.
That is rough.
Yeah, so he has to deal with, well, basically a big lethal setup.
Yeah,
for
and that
Artosis.
creature is going to die here. And there it goes. 3 damage.
So
per
there it
creature.
is. Artosis has lethal on the board.
Well, that's getting Cone of Colded, so that's not exactly lethal, but well enough. It does absorb a lot of those arcane missiles, which I think he was hoping to proc the block with.
All right, and he even has a couple of frost.
This is a very tough turn. Even 1 giant is really gonna probably swing the
things up.
game.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
So how crazy do you go? Do you kill one with Frostbolt, or do you Frostbolt to the face, hoping to survive another turn, which we know is a mistake?
yeah. No, he has to do that, and he's gonna pass it over.
Oh, this is the risky version, right here.
Yeah, he's gonna leave these giants up. Oh, and an Arcane Intellect. Very clutch for those moments in the late game.
Oh, this is not good for Trump right now.
More card draw, more minions. And even a polymorph.
That's pretty useless right
Yeah,
now.
we don't really see polymorphs applicable at this point. Artosis has to be feeling pretty good, and he's even separated his giants, which is really nice.
He's got lethal with a fireball in hand. There's not much Trump can do.
Second Pyro, but
Yeah, he is dead, and we know that. What he can do is Oh man.
Well, if he frostbolts both of the giants,
he needs to proc block this turn, and the only way to
Yeah.
do that is with Pyro and Frostbolt to the face. And
or
if he does that, he's
godly arcane missiles. Do you believe, Crip?
dead. I don't think there's any reason for it.
No, it's no point doing that.
He's a really tough spot. I think he realizes that he's lost this game, actually. I think the safest play is to Pyroblast one giant and to Frostbolt the other to prevent the incoming damage.
But then he has no Pyroblasts left.
Exactly.
And how many Blizzards does he run? Only one in his deck. Wow.
There's just no other way that you can win this game outside from drawing it out some more.
Yeah, I was trying to hope if he can get really lucky in some of his draws. But Artosis has done well to set up this condition. I think you're right. Yeah, Pyroblasting one of the giants is definitely what you have to do. But there's just less and less opportunities to win from that point on.
Right.
It's just like delaying the inevitable, essentially.
Well, he may be thinking that there's some kind of super outside chance that the opponent doesn't have any burn in his hand. So if he does like a ping to the Loot Hoarder into Pyroblast, oh no, that wouldn't work. What would work is Pyroblast to the face and Arcane Missiles, one hitting the Loot Hoarder and two proccing the Ice Block.
That's what I was saying, man. The arcane missiles, can you make it believe?
That's... I mean, we know that doesn't work.
Yeah, even if so, there's still something in Artosis' hand. But
yeah, he's got the Fireball to finish him off.
Does Trump have any Fireballs left too? Because I'm just trying to think of firepower, because he uses Leroy, which counts as
He used
Fireball
Leroy,
number 3.
he's used one Pyro, the other's in his hand. He's got both Frostbolts in his hand. And I think he's used one Fireball, and he has another.
So that's pretty much, he's got one bullet left after this.
Yeah.
And it's not enough.
No, I don't think Trump can come back in this. I don't think there's many cards in his deck that can really change this pace of the game.
Well, you can just say completely screw it and just try it anyways. I mean, when you have this kind of scenario, sometimes just taking the risk is all you can do. But those two giants, that's what really stings the most, just dealing with both of them at the same time.
I feel like Pyroblasting one giant and Frostbolting the other may actually be okay. Oh man, like if he does that, he has to draw. He has to draw into, I think, like Argent Commander to kill the other giant, and then he has to draw into like Fireball to proc the Ice Block. And like meanwhile, his opponent has to draw nothing.
Yeah, no pyros or anything.
Yeah, but that's his only chance, and that's what he does. Yep.
All right, so Trump doing the best he can. Most likely will survive another turn.
That last draw by Artosis really was crushing.
Yeah.
The fact that he drew.
Oh man.
The fact that he drew two giants instead of one was
Well, he's
really
got giant
brutal.
number 3 essentially here as well.
Yeah, I don't know if you go for the super aggressive play here.
Or heal yourself. Is that what you're thinking about?
I think Artosis knows that he just saw the second Pyroblast go off on another creature.
Yeah.
So he's probably well aware that he's very far ahead in this game, and Alistraza serves to really protect that. So I think playing Alistraza here is really unnecessary risk that he doesn't need to take.
On him?
Yeah.
Or you would do it on yourself though for extra 3 health.
No, I would just save it until Ice Block procs.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Oh, well, look at this. Trump gets a big card in Blizzard, but let's see what he can follow up with. He can probably take out the giant if he gets a really nice proc with Arcane Missiles.
I think you'd cast Arcane Missiles this turn.
Yeah, at this point, what else are you trying to really aim for? There's no more Pyro again, and he's waiting for maybe one more Fireball. All right, here comes the Arcane Missiles, and he takes out the giant.
Pretty good.
Nice. And again, Trump taking a pretty good turn.
Yeah, he's going for the safe play, but I mean, anytime the opponent draws Pyro, you're gonna lose.
Well, he sets up so that he can go for it as well. So Pyroblast and a ping should bring it within 1 health.
It's gonna be Pyroblast ping. Trump cannot gain life. He cannot win the game because his opponent has Ice Block. So there is no way that Trump can win this game outside of Artosis just not attacking.
Well played, and being tossed out. Trump can't do anything. He draws an Argent Squire. He can shoot himself.
That's what he seems to be thinking about.
I mean, that's the honorable way to go down. Artosis climbs back into the series 1-2 as game number 3 goes to Team DogeHouse.
All right, not bad. I think right now we're going to see how experienced Trump is at playing Druid and Paladin. They're both decks that have, very, very wide variety of options and what you can do each turn. And I think if Trump has the experience, I think his chance to win with either deck is very good. The last time I played Artosis, I played a deck, like after losing the first game against them, which wasn't the first game, it was I was up 2 games and then I lost 1. So I only need to win 1 more, and then I played the deck that I thought wasn't the best against it, just so I get more information.
Yep.
Yeah, and
But I think he got full information, don't you feel like, from his opponent from that? Almost.
probably
He saw about 18, 19 cards.
he saw the Archmage. I don't think we've seen Archmage, utilized exactly. I think in my game I actually discarded it with Mukla's bananas.
Bananas.
Yeah, but we haven't seen any super crazy play, so there may be a few tricks up the sleeve. And I just think, go for the safer play. And I think the Paladin deck, if you play it correctly, almost cannot lose against the Mage.
It's got some really good options against it.
But I think the Druid can lose, but it's still a slight favorite. So I would actually play the Druid, go for the chance. And, if it doesn't win, you know more about your opponent's deck than you did before.
Let's get ready for game number 4 between Trump versus Artosis. Big game for Artosis, even bigger game for Trump because he can win his first series.
I'd actually be pretty surprised to see the Paladin here.
You'd be surprised to see.
Yeah, even though it is the better deck. Against it, at least.
So you're thinking he's going Druid.
Yeah, even though the Druid's not that great, I think it's... Oh, he does go for Paladin. Crypt playing Paladin. That's a good sign.
Well, something's going right. Alex Straza on the opening hand. Artosis is going to try to X that immediately. What will Trump get? What is the ideal hand getting here for Paladin?
Doesn't even matter. You want equality to deal with the Giants, and you want some kind of heals until you get to turn 8 or so. But there's so many heals in the deck that it's just probably going to happen.
Yeah.
In my experience playing a deck very similar to this one, the only games that I lost were dropped just because I didn't draw any healing, and that's extremely unlikely.
All right, well, turn 2, and we see 2 Wild Pyromancers. It's one of my favorite cards in the game.
Yeah, it's a very control-y card. I think with 2, you can easily just play one here. It's not a big deal.
And Godly, board clear with 4 mana if you get an equality as well.
Yep. It doesn't work so well against Warlock, but against everything else, it's quite strong. We'll see the patience of Artosis here. He has the option to Frostbolt it, but the other is just to ping it down. Frostbolt, I feel is a very impatient move, because against this type of Paladin deck, the problem is not staying alive. The problem is being able to actually kill him.
Yeah, with damage.
Yeah, exactly. So having the Frostbolt later is very important.
Ooh, an early Tyrion draw.
Yep. Tyrion is one of the strongest cards in the deck, but if it gets matched up against the Polymorph, it's not really going to matter that much.
Artosis does run 1 Polymorph in his deck. Hopefully you'll need to draw that. Arcane Intellect to continue to load.
Antonidas. That's a really good card to draw. It is one of the cards that Paladin has to deal with immediately, and in some positions you're not really able to.
Oh, well. I was thinking about the stats of the Antonidas because Big Game Hunter does kill off a 7 attack, but it's 5/7, not 7/5.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
All right, so turn number 4. Wow, some really heavy-hitting cards coming out of Artosis' hand.
I mean, this is what Artosis wants. He wants the Giants. He wants the other threat with Archmage. He wants... Well, it's not that he wants. He needs Alistraza to kill him. I mean, you cannot kill him without Alistraza.
Yeah, bring him down to 15 and then
Exactly.
try to set
I
it
think
up.
Iceberry here is really unnecessary.
Yeah, I guess.
He does go with it.
It actually weakens his chance of getting a giant out.
Exactly.
Hammer of Wrath, one of my favorite
So
cards.
when I play Paladin, all I do against the Mage setup is keep enough damage to heal myself. So I would not True Silver him at all until I would have lost some life already.
Be very efficient with your health, your HP.
Here, if I was Trump, I would probably just hammer the Mage in the face to hopefully draw out my heal cards, which I don't have any of.
And there's,
It goes for a dude.
Yeah, more knights. Feeling kind of lonely. And a Pyroblast being drawn.
On the other hand, if I had heals in my hand, I think I would have saved the hammer.
Okay.
So
'Cause
maybe he's just optimistic that he will draw into
deal
it.
with the giants and whatnot.
Well, Blizzard kills 1 card, so that's pretty good.
Saves him from 6 damage.
Yep.
Can you explain a little bit about the Wolf Rider? You just want more clear power with 3 damage. 3
Paladins
mana?
just have such solid 4s, and if you lead up into the 4th turn by clearing the board just a little bit, it sets you up
Pretty
for
good
such
position.
a So he goes for the hammer here. He realizes that I don't really have anything good to play. Might as well do that.
I have a question. I had never really done this. If you play a Faceless Manipulator on an empty board, it just stays at its
Yeah, I think the 3/3. That's
Okay.
right.
Well, that's interesting. That's really funny. All right, so Hammer of Wrath, is you gonna do it, Trump? You can go for that.
Certainly, Hammer Wrath is the correct play, but I don't know how experienced Trump is. Oh, Lay on Hands is absolutely perfect.
There you go. The heal that he wants.
Well, it's not perfect, I guess. It is good though. The ideal scenario is that when your opponent does Alistraza, you big game it, and then you cast a Guardian of Kings. So you kill it for free, and you heal yourself for most of the damage just through battle cries.
Ooh, very nice here for Artosis,
Yep,
just
that
to
is
get
extremely
that
good.
clutch Mountain Giant.
This is gonna draw out the big game.
Yeah. And the big game hunter will be able to deal with it immediately.
Yep. It puts him in a good spot because now he has to draw another way to kill or deal with Alistraza.
There's so many cards that every time I'm looking at it, it just there's a lot of options they can do. Sylvanas also being drawn here for Trump.
Yeah.
Not really the most useful Sylvanas right now. I think the big game hunter is the obvious choice.
Yeah. Thing is, you can afford to take 8 damage right now,
Because you have the lay on hands.
and you probably heal a little bit with True Silver. And the only way your opponent's going to win is with Alistraza anyway. But big game, you can't really go too wrong with that.
Yeah. And does manage to play it out.
Plays
Playing
another
more
guy.
tokens. Trump is very helpful to the Silverhand Knights.
Yeah. The main issue is that Trump, as of right now, is not able to deal with a Alistraza play. So he needs to draw into Peacekeeper or he needs to draw into Equality.
That makes sense. Artosis now at full 10 cards, has 7 mana. He can play the Flame Strike, but I feel like that's kind of wasteful.
Well, he might be trying to do an Archmage Antonidas play. If he can get off a bunch of fireballs from it, then he'll certainly have enough damage to kill a Paladin.
Yeah, he could get Archmage, coin Frost Nova, potentially.
I don't believe... Oh, Frost Nova is in his hand.
For next turn.
Yep.
So then he can play the Flame Strike here, because he has his turn.
I think that's a complete waste. Certainly would not have done that play myself.
It's 1 card for 1 card, and a Flame Strike is really expensive. So I'm feeling really confident.
Oh, that's getting polymorphed.
And the Tyrion comes out, but Artosis already has that polymorph and that ping. So nice turn here for Artosis.
Certainly. It's definitely not what Trump wanted to see. Absolutely not.
So you're gonna play Ice Block now.
That is a Tyrion sheep. Golden Tyrion sheep.
It's like a sheep from heaven. It's like the Lamb of God, quite literally.
Well, it's about to die. It's gonna get pinged down most likely.
Not without a fight.
No, it's gonna die because his opponent cannot play a card if his opponent has any creature because he would have to fear Equality, and that's probably why he's so aggressively dealing with all those 1/1s.
But at least the sheep will go down fighting.
Yeah. Here we may see Trump's inexperience. He has to play Sylvanas because he cannot deal with an Alistraza. So there is no option here.
Or
he has to play Alistraza.
If he puts the
he has to play Sylvanas.
he plays the Archmage, he can also threaten to steal it.
Exactly.
Which is funny enough too.
Oh, that's... The thing is, he would steal it, and then he would heal it, giving him a fireball. So it would be outrageous.
And he has a lot of cheap spells.
But this is one of those times where you don't have an obvious play, but your
the
move...
experience really shows.
Yeah.
But he also has a Faceless Manipulator too. I forgot about that kind of like card. We don't really see it too often as well, but it's really useful in those big heavy decks as well.
Oh, he is going with Sylvanas. Oh, he's thinking about it. That is absolutely the right play. He has no insurance against the big card, and with this deck, there's only a few slight openings for you to lose the game against a deck like this. So just preventing those is just going to be a blowout. And he needs to make these right plays for that to happen because the opponent has a very, very serious hand.
I'm trying to look at his other options besides Sylvanas, and I can't really think of anything else. So I think in that respect, you kind of have to logically conclude it.
The problem with the Archmage Antonidas for Trump is that he went second, so he gets the coin.
So you can play.
Yeah, even though you can deal with it, you might be able to do something like Archmage coin Ice Nova, or something like that.
Yeah.
And just having those 3 extra fireballs is actually going to lead to a kill on the Paladin, regardless of anything. Whoa, what is
Wolf
going on
Rider.
there? That is certainly not the play.
Wolf Rider into a True Silver. I
I
guess
was
he
going
wants
for
to
some
put out as much
damage.
damage as he can.
You don't attack with a True Silver just because you only attack when you want to gain life.
What do you think is rationale there, going for the...
His rationale is if he gets Alistraza'd, he can deal with it instantly.
I see.
Oh,
Which
and
is
how about that? He gets
what he wants
Alistraza'd.
it. Yeah. So 15 health for Trump. And
Yep.
he does have the Lay on Hands as well.
Oh, that is a good card to draw. He has
Oh, he has
the...
a Holy Light too.
Yes.
All right.
He has the Hammer of Wrath here to deal with it on the board instead of taking the damage, but if he does the Hammer play, the only way he can heal himself as well is the Holy Light. And he cannot Faceless if he makes that play. So the question here for Trump is, how much do you want to heal? Considering he has Lay on Hands and Holy Light, I think he can afford to do that. I think the best play here is to Faceless, Hammer, and kill it off.
Looks like that's what he's setting up to do, going for the 8/8 copy. And then put pressure right back.
Yep, killing it off, doing the Hammer.
And there we go, the Hammer of Wrath to finish it off, and Trump draws
He
a
really
card.
needs a Peacekeeper or something drawn here. That is not a good card.
Yeah. Blood Mage
And he does need to
Dominance.
heal. That is among the 2 options that turn, but I do think it's the better one.
Now, Artosis does have full mana, draws his second Doomsayer.
He has the Archmage Antonidas with the Frost Nova play here, which is quite good. He has 2 Doomsayers, but I don't know if he wants to use the Frost Nova on the Doomsayer.
No.
I think he might want to save it for the Archmage. The one way to play against this Paladin deck is just try to go for it after you Alistraza. And if he does that, he will lose. But I don't know if he knows that.
Yeah, because he doesn't know how much he has in his hand.
Well, if he...
I don't think he's even revealed enough to kind of show that he would have those cards. I mean, Guardian Kings is pretty normally cycled through, but things like Holy Light you don't see in every Paladin deck.
He might Archmage here because one of the main ways that his opponent could be able to kill it is with Equality, and if he does use Equality, he'll essentially sack his Alistraza.
Yeah.
So I think an advanced play would actually be the Archmage.
Archmage.
Archmage probably coin Fireball.
Coin, Fireball.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking as well.
You could do the Ice Nova as well.
You could, and gives him 2 spells as well. Just the same thing as a Fireball. Let's see. Oh, he's going to do the Frost Nova before it?
Yeah, it's probably doing
Doomsayer.
Frost Nova, Doomsayer.
Okay. And he has the opportunity to play Fireball, even as well as a Novice Engineer if he wants to draw a card or ping. But he can set up this win condition.
So he's like, do you want to keep your Alistraza, or do you want to heal yourself and not lose?
Which is pretty obvious. Let's not lose.
Well, let's see what he draws into here. If he gets another Hammer or Wrath, he can help with both.
Peacekeeper.
That is a good draw.
Nice.
Yeah, there's nothing he can do to kill the Doomsayer. So this turn, he's probably just going to heal himself. I would go all the way. I would go Holy Light, Lay
He
on
could
Hands.
Avenging Wrath, but that's still risky. 'Cause you never know.
He actually could Avenging Wrath. That's actually not too bad.
Avenging Wrath with a Blood Mage Thalnos.
Well,
if
actually,
you
now,
wanted
now
to.
that I think about it, I think Avenging Wrath was the better play, because if you attack it, you only have to do 3, and with the Blood Mage,
Yeah,
know,
but-
3 out of 9 is a very, very good chance.
All right, well, now that's history. Trump now has drawn 3 extra cards, including a Mad Bomber, a very underrated card as well.
He went with a really safe play, and I don't blame him for it.
So now what is Artosis looking for as he draws Cone of Cold?
He essentially needs to set up another win condition. Alistraza failed. His opponent is pretty much at full life again. And he's down a Fireball. So he has to make the most out of his Archmage, and he may play it here because his opponent doesn't have a creature that immediately kills it.
That's good. And so he can follow it up with, well, I don't know. Doesn't really have much to follow it up with.
No, he doesn't.
And that's kind of always one of the things. In this late game scenario, you want to kind of play a spell right after the Archmage to at least get some return immediately.
You can Archmage coined, and the coin gives you a fireball, and then you can use that fireball.
Oh, that's right. I didn't think about that. Nice. You can definitely do that, and I think that's what he's thinking about.
Yep.
Kind of cool.
You can also Cone of Cold his own creature if he wants more fireballs.
Don't think that's what he's gonna opt for. So 6 damage up, which is essentially the same as the Holy Light that holds inside Trump's hand.
I believe we saw the Holy Light used. He has the Guardian of Kings left. He has 2 Guardian of Kings left in his deck for healing.
He used the Lay on Hands.
I believe he used both.
Oh, okay. All right.
Lay on Hands is 8 mana, Holy Light is 2. Oh, he has the other True Silver, so he has plenty of healing left in his hand. The main issue here is to kill off that thing, I think he has to attack into it and Avenging Wrath.
Avenging Wrath.
If he does that, he can't heal, and that puts him... Where does that put him? +2, so he takes 3, puts him at 15. At 15, you can't die, but you're not in a good spot, because at 15 you can get Pyroed, and then if you heal, you can get Pyroed Frostbolted the turn after.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty advanced play. He's been pretty unlucky that he has not drawn Equality. He has the Peacekeeper, so another move that he can do is Peacekeeper it, attack with True Silver, finish it off with Avenging Wrath, which I think is the correct play. But it is, again, pretty advanced, so we'll have to see if he sees that play.
Where does...
Oh, there actually is another play. The other play is the Mad Bomber, and hope that it hits it for 1, and then you can kill it with, I believe, the Consecrate and the True Silver.
Yeah. And that's actually... the chances of that happening are actually...
They're about 70%.
Yeah. Mad Bomber, 3 shots, anywhere else. It's big decision-making time. Very tense for Trump.
I think Trump only really has one good move this turn, and that is the Peacekeeper. It puts him vulnerable against giants, but I mean that's what it is.
I think he's gonna.
This is very risky. I would not do this.
In the face.
I would not take that extra damage because you have so little healing afterwards.
That's probably what I'd prefer as well, just because minimal damage against mages is always the preferred option.
I mean, he's bound to draw into Equality.
Eventually. I mean, right now, how many cards have been played? I feel like at least half the deck's been played through. Trump's also used a lot of his healing, his Lay on Hands and his Holy Light.
Yep.
He still has 2 Guardian Kings, though.
Yeah, he cannot afford to take that much damage right now, and that is really something that experience will dictate.
Critical moment. Just want to...
Certainly.
This is the moment that if for some reason Trump ends up losing this game in the series, he was going to look back at this moment and feel like he made a pretty big decision. But still, this doesn't dictate who's going to necessarily win, just that...
Oh, he takes the risk.
Wow. All right. 5 damage back at him.
Oh, he wants to do
Avenging
Blood
Wrath.
Mage, Avenging Wrath. Oh, Blood Mage.
Consecration.
Okay.
All right.
Interesting, not bad.
And set himself up with a token afterwards, or another 2 silver?
I think he has the True Silver to increase the healing the turn after. Right now, he's going to get Pyroblasted, and if his opponent has another Pyroblast drawn, he will lose. This is not looking great for Trump, but it's going to look good if he plays a Molten Giant. That is not the card to play right now.
Yeah, because
it will get Peacekeeper instantly, and you waste your turn.
And 7 mana, it's not cheap.
Yeah.
There's more opportunities to play it down the line,
Right.
I feel, as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Artosis is really kind of saying, it's a little expensive.
He has to go for the face here. There is no option.
Does he, I mean...
There's so many, going for the face here puts Trump on a clock. And that is so rare for this Paladin deck. I mean, Artosis really had the best cards that he could have had to beat Trump.
He also has 2 chances with a Novice Engineer as well. If he really feels like it.
I feel like that ping is pretty good as well.
Taking out
another damage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because then he's at 4 health, and then if you can heal for 6 more with the Guardian Kings at most. Unless, he can heal for actually a little bit more than that because he has a True Silver Champion. He's gonna draw a second fireball.
That is the
Critical
ultimate top
moment.
deck. I think he's just won the game.
Because then he can do, because it's more damage overall.
Right.
Artosis must be so pleased with himself.
That is actually the best card in the deck that he could have drawn.
But wait, this actually is really careful because Trump can also still technically heal for 8 with the True Silver Champ, so he could be at 13. Oh,
Yeah,
no,
which
it doesn't matter.
he's
You're
still
right.
dead.
Okay, the ping, I forget. You always forget about the ping
Yeah.
when calculating damage.
And that 1/2 creature is going to do another one as well.
Wow, incredible. I can't believe it came down to that one last card, the Novice Engineer, man. Wow.
Well, he would have drawn it next turn anyway. If he
Yeah.
did the Pyroblast ping, the result would have been the
But
same.
it gives him the confidence to absolutely save for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, Artosis had, in my opinion, one of the only ways that you can win against the Paladin. Trump had a lot of answers, but I feel he misplayed a little bit. He could have had 4 extra life, and the 4 extra life would have been a lot of extra healing.
Yeah, look at this. He's going to take out the Ops Engineer. Has 12 health. Feels like he's slightly out of range. But you always kind of
Certainly not.
wonder, what if he had 2 fireballs? And the answer is, yes, he does. Artosis is going to claim this last turn and even out the series 2-2.
Yep.
Wow. Man, Artosis series are always so entertaining.
Well, I mean, I feel like Artosis really got the RNG end of that one.
Yeah.
But Trump also, in my opinion, misplayed a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, it's a little tricky when you don't have as much experience with the Paladin deck
Certainly.
because there's so many decisions you could have
Certainly.
made.
So Trump is actually in a bad spot now. You know, the Druid is a decent matchup, but it's certainly not anything close to the Paladin.
Yeah,
Like,
Paladin just has so many heals to directly answer it.
in my experience, the Paladin is going to win that match maybe even more than 9 times out of 10.
Better than 90% win rate.
Yes.
Yeah, throw it out there. So Trump's
I
less than
probably
10%.
played maybe 40 mages and I lost 3, and I only lost because I had 0 heals. I never lost the game where I had a
Just didn't
heal.
get the draws.
Yeah, and Trump had the heals, so that really speaks to how good the draws on Artosis' side were, and how much it really matters, I guess, to get all those cards in the right sequence.
And so we'll find out what happens in game number 5. I'm really excited. The timer is up. Who's gonna win it? Artosis or Trump? The rematch revenge concludes now. All right,
And the Doomsayer.
it's a great choice.
Doomsayer is okay against Druid. The Druid has the option to attack it himself. He has a bunch of chargers. He has the swipes. So we'll see. I think we're going to see some
a good
surprises
point.
today out of this Druid deck. But if Artosis draws like the perfect hand, Artosis should have this game. This game is largely based around what Artosis can draw into.
All right, so right off the bat, we have an Innervate and a coin for Trump. So next turn, he could put out almost anything in his hand currently at the moment.
Well, he can do a turn 1 Harvest Golem, which is a pretty good play. He can also, coin out a Sun Fury, something like that. The main issue is that sometimes your opponent plays like Loot Hoarders and Novices, and not exactly sure what's in his hand, but that kind of stuff is often going to eat up your second turn. So I think the Innervate play is good. Gives you the option of playing the Sun Fury, or you can, chomp into a Loot Hoarder if you want.
Sure. Heading over into...
Look, there's a Loot Hoarder.
Yeah, turn 2. There is that Loot Hoarder.
Time to chomp it up.
And Artosis, there's nothing really else other than using... Because Doomsayer is just completely useless.
Oh, that is absolute waste.
And so is Frost Nova, so yeah, I think he can either ping or choose a Loot Hoarder.
I don't see pinging here as a very good option. I think he
Drawing
actually
cards is just so
expects
much
a
better.
Druid to have Healing Touch. So I think he's going to want to build up cards as he did in the last game for a victory.
Mm-hmm.
And they actually may not work out very well for him because Trump doesn't have a healing
Yeah,
thing.
it's funny when working that way.
And he actually has a few cards that are a little bit meaner than normal.
Absolutely, I'm looking at it, and one of them includes a very unique legendary card.
Which
called
one are you referring
Tink
to?
Master Overspark.
That was in my Druid deck yesterday.
Yeah, I saw it yesterday. I don't think you actually got to use it, did you?
I did, but it backfired.
Oh, okay, right.
Yeah.
Turned into a chicken, right?
I used it and it turned it into a 5/5, which is not terrible given the circumstance. I think he's on a Tyrion or something, but could have been better.
It's essentially a silence, but you
Yeah.
risk also giving them something really good.
Well, when you use it on like a Ragnaros or a Ysera, there is no loss.
Yeah, the value is really nice on that.
Absolutely.
So now on turn number 4 for Artosis.
Here we might see the Doomsayer.
Yeah.
Stuff's getting a little bit out of hand pretty quick. You don't know if you could really cast the block and do enough damage to kill him at the same time.
Yeah, and it fits perfectly within his mana, so very nice use of it. And Artosis is going to play the Doomsayer, pass it back over to Trump, see what he's got.
Silence here would be devastating. Naturalize.
Oh.
Naturalize is...
Well, it gives his opponent more cards. It's a double-edged sword.
Yeah, but he knows that his opponent has Archmage and Tinnitus, and that is a card you need to kill right away.
And you want to save that Naturalize for it.
It's a tough call. I don't think it's wrong to naturalize here. But,
So then in Crypt's expertise, you would just keep the Naturalize?
I think I'd use naturalize.
You can use it.
Yeah.
Alright.
Archmage is not that good if you're losing, and if you can continue beating up his opponent to the ground, I feel like the tempo swing is going to be too much.
So he does use a Naturalize, 2 cards for Artosis, and now we have Trump gonna have still the same board presence as before. A lot of cards though for our player from Team DogeHouse.
I think he's at 9. 9 is fine. You just can't Arcane Intellect on 9.
Let's see what he has.
No Mountain Giant though. Only 1 in the deck. Does
Kind
have
of
2
annoying.
Moltons though, so the comeback potential here is pretty good. He just drew a Pyro too, and wow.
So he has a lot of damage.
This hand is really good.
Yeah.
He can
Even
freeze
the ice block as
Yeah,
well.
he can freeze his opponent for 2 turns. He has 1 turn from the ice block. He's got 2 giants, and he has about 20 face damage right now.
Oof.
So this is not ideal, but pretty good hand.
So Artosis making some calculations, and like you said, this game can be really dependent on what Artosis
Yeah,
draws.
if he uses Arcane Intellect, he has to cast another card or he discards his next draw.
I think he's gonna use a Frost.
Wow, the Mountain Giant is actually the perfect draw. And the Blizzard gives him another turn. So actually, that actually is pretty close to an ideal hand. Things
Yeah.
are not looking that great for
I mean, I
Trump.
can't really think of too many other cards that he would want in his hand at the moment.
Whoa, I'm surprised to see that one.
Takes the harvest. I mean, the Harvest Golem. All right, well, we'll see if that pays off or not. Meanwhile, we do have turn 5 here for Trump, and he can play the Druid of the Claw. He draws an Ancient of Lore. It's also it's one of my favorite Druid cards as well. Very versatile.
I think I would have considered using the Defender of Argus there.
Oh, he's shooting the Frostbolt on the Defender of Argus?
No, just
Oh, using Defender
Yes.
of Argus. Okay, I thought you were
just to
saying.
pump him up a little bit out of range. Here he's thinking of going to charge mode. Charge mode is a bit vulnerable against some board clear, so yeah, he goes for the safer play, the bear mode.
Bear mode. Doomsayer draw. Wow, giving him even more turns.
That is really the best possible thing he could have drawn because he has the he has the Ice Nova.
He can use Mountain Giant and even a Cone of Cold.
I feel Doomsayer is a stronger play. His opponent's starting to run out of cards, and you have such insane late game. If you can just stall, you're gonna be well off. And
Okay. That's a fair play as well.
yeah, I think Doomsayer here is the best play. Doomsayer Frost Nova, easy play.
And Artosis is instead going to use to ping.
Yeah, well, if you do the Doomsayer Ice Nova, you'd want to ping off that golem
Blink
because
and
it
freeze
comes
everything.
back, and then when you kill it off, you don't want something left over.
All right, so Artosis thinking about doing it, and Frost Nova and the Doomsayer, excellent choice.
Absolutely.
And now pass it back over to Trump. What's Trump really looking for when he draws here?
Silence.
Does he have silence? Oh, Keeper of the Grove. Yes,
2 of
he
them.
can.
He just hasn't drawn it.
Faceless Manipulator. That's a troll move. You just copy his Doomsayer just for the hell of it. Then he's just
really
going to
doesn't do
essentially
anything.
pass his turn.
Yeah, Trump's been getting a little bit unlucky. His opponent drew into, was it 2 Doomsayer combos now, or was that the previous game? I don't know. It's kind of a little bit of a blend.
Didn't he use it earlier with the Harvest Golem, and then it was left over? Or was that? Yeah, I think the games are bleeding over. It's been a long series, but now Artosis has the ice block, and
Time to
Ooh.
tink.
And he has a silence essentially, which is very nice.
This is 1 turn late.
That's a
Could've
little
been
bit
nice on the
unfortunate.
Doomsayer.
So he can Tink, and then he has enough mana for a defender. What's the stats on the Tink Master?
2/2.
So not really the best, but still a useful draw for Trump nonetheless.
Yeah, you can't really deal with an 8/8 right now, and I think tinking it is the correct play. You can't faceless it beforehand, so I mean you're just out of luck if he gets a 5/5. Artosis is getting pretty lucky in the last 2 games, so hopefully that doesn't continue with the tink here.
All right, well, it's the moment where we find out what's going to happen.
And Artosis gets lucky.
Wow, Artosis really striking gold here in the game number 5.
Yeah, it's certainly not catastrophic. I mean, you know, Tink Master, he removed 3/3 from something, and he is a 2/2, and for 3 mana, that's really quite good.
Yep.
But certainly not what you want.
Artosis even draws a polymorph to deal with anything from Druid, so he has so many tools at his disposal.
Yeah, Artosis is really drawing into perfect cards. Of course, aided by the Naturalize, but I mean, it is what it is. Couldn't really do that much.
Now you can take out the taunt and even hit the face directly.
Yeah, with these face hits, he's going to be sitting very well because he has the Fireball and the Pyroblast in hand.
So now, again, let's kind of have to ask, what is Trump really fishing for at this point then?
I think he needs to draw cards right now. If he plays the Ysera with the Innervate, he's going to lose the Polymorph. And again, the big comeback is going to be halted by the 1 Polymorph in the deck.
So I guess from what it is, play the Ancient Lord, draw more cards, do something. Face Manipulator doesn't really do much here. So let's see what Trump gets from these 2 cards.
Yep, that is the correct play in my opinion.
Ooh. Well,
Those are 2 pretty good cards.
not bad.
Certainly not. Ragnaros will still do something.
Well, it
really
always
important.
does something, which is why people consider it one of the best legendaries.
Yep. Here his opponent is just going to go for the freeze play, more face damage. Ice Barrier is really strong as well. I think he's going to do Cone of Cold, attack to the face, and I might even just Fireball to the face and
Ping.
ping. Yeah.
Wouldn't be the worst thing, although I think Artosis is also considering the Ice Barrier. I guess get it out of the way, so to speak.
I
But
don't
at the
think
same
so.
time, he
Absolutely not.
again
Like,
he loses.
I don't understand.
He loses the ability to drop the Molten Giants later on as well. Maybe you have to ask him. We'll ask him about it
Yeah.
in the interviews.
I think the Fireball there was clearly the best choice.
Yeah, reducing, and again, getting his opponent into a dangerous zone of health, because then Fireball brings it to 14, and then next turn he can hit again and maybe even Pyro. You never know. But now it's Trump's initiative. He draws some of his heaviest hitting cards, which is,
It's ragtime.
yeah, it's time to pray.
Praise Ragnaros. No.
Or Ysera,
No.
but he doesn't know he has a
Oh,
polymorph.
man.
Oh, yoinks. Double zoinks.
Not terrible giving him taunt like that, but
Nightmare.
that is a pretty bad card.
It's not even the card he wants. All right, so now Artosis has a pretty clear-cut decision to make. Polymorph.
Polymorph Ysera. He can even Fireball the 5/4, take out the 2/3.
Polymorph, Fireball, and then ping or draw a card. Artosis really has a strong hand and sets up
Yeah,
a really strong finishing potential in the next couple of turns.
easy Polymorph there.
Yikes, that hurts.
He might be playing around healing touches and just wants to keep board control.
That's true. For now, his dinosaurs have been doing pretty good for himself.
Goes for
Face
face
shot
there.
and kill off the sheep.
Not really all that risky with a Pyroblast in hand.
Yep, and again, unless he deals with this somehow, sets up a potential kill. Oh, I guess he doesn't want him to armor up and whatnot. I think Artosis is just setting up in case, but we all know that Trump has many answers to that.
Well, that sheep is about to be a nightmare sheep. We both know that.
Sheep's about to have some bad dreams. Courtesy of Ysera in the Emerald World.
I think this is an easy Ragnaros play.
Yep, Rag, trade it, bring the mage down to 10 health.
Well, if the mage doesn't Pyro Rag, he can Faceless Rag the turn after.
Faceless Rag. Oh, you're right.
Which was which is pretty
The only thing
bad.
more fun. The only thing more fun than one Ragnaros.
Yep.
It's two
true.
Ragnaros.
That's right.
Let's see what Trump's mulling over, but I think you're absolutely right. Rag's the obvious choice.
Well,
Trade.
he has to win. He knows he's on a clock. He knows he doesn't have healing in his deck. He knows his opponent's down through half his deck, probably getting pyroblasted pretty soon.
Has to do something. He also sees 2 secrets up.
And he knows that sheep is not surviving until next turn if he stays alive. So Nightmare Sheep seems to be the easiest play ever right now.
What else is he really debating then? Just, I guess, Ancient of War, but that's not really. Nah, he knows he's got to do the Ragnaros.
He might be debating the fact that his opponent has a lot of situational cards. He may have Molten Giants, and with this Rag play,
dropping into low health.
well, the ice barrier is going to stop a lot of the damage, so it's not going to be that low, which is actually good for Trump. I believe his opponent. Yeah,
It's going to bring him down to.
he can't play both the giants.
17, yeah.
Right.
All
And
right.
if you only play one giant against Ragnaros, that's not very good.
Sheep goes bye-bye after Artosis' turn. He draws the Antonitis.
Well, that's really bad for Trump. Does it? No, it doesn't guarantee the win.
If he... Okay, so he can play the mage in like a cone of cold and draw a fireball.
Artosis actually has a tough call. Ragnaros is a really serious drop.
And you mean he wants to keep his Pyroblast, but... He still has that ice block up for an extra turn, but do you really want to gamble like that?
I think this is the turn where you novice and
See what
praise
you get.
novice.
Praise Novice?
Worked last time.
We don't see anyone dedicating religions off of this engineer. But it could be the scenario. See what you get.
You really need a little bit more than what your hand has right now against Ragnaros. I think you praise
What's he
novice,
fishing for, then?
and if it really sucks, you might consider pyroing Ragnaros. That doesn't work.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, wow.
that's risky.
Artosis goes for the Pyroblast.
He doesn't have a finisher in his hand.
Nope. Maybe he can draw it next turn. I guess he's going to leave it up to what he does best, which is RNG. Trump now can drop his opponent down to... He can actually just...
He's gonna proc Ice Block.
yeah, but he's going to proc it with a Ragnaros shot.
Yes,
So he's going to have more health than he would ideally like.
certainly.
This is just so funny. You don't see that all the time. Double Ragnaros. As now he's going to proc the Ice Block with 2 Rag shots.
His opponent has the top deck right now.
Yeah. Artosis put
Worked
himself
last
in a
time.
win now. This is all what it comes down to for Artosis. And what does he get?
About to find out.
Oh my goodness! I can't believe it! Artosis draws the fireball. It's over.
Top deck,
Sweep.
top deck, or lose 2 games in a row.
Oh my goodness. And
That is pretty brutal.
wow.
But often that's what it takes. Top decking in a close situation really makes the difference.
Well, Artosis does end up taking the series 3-2 and wins the first for his team. Definitely a huge burn off his back for Trump. Absolutely crushing loss. I can't even begin to wonder what he's feeling like.
Trump hasn't won yet still.
No.
But I don't think he can really be that disappointed with his performance. I mean, I really only noticed a few mistakes in the Paladin game, but as far as the Druid, I feel like he played pretty well. I feel like he made all the right decisions, and really the game was swung just by the fact that Artosis had such great cards, and he just drew the last one when he needed it in the end, both games.
You have any final thoughts over everything?
Not really. Ragnaros delivered, but the fireballs are...
You prayed and got 2 rags.
Yeah.
All right, stay tuned, guys. We're going to have a winner's interview and a loser's interview with Trump and Artosis coming up next. Hey, guys, I'm joined with Trump on the desk. Trump is a really long series, and both of you played extremely well, but it came down to the last few cards. How are you feeling at the moment?
Oh man, I'm feeling so disappointed. The games were very good, and I was very surprised that, well, not too surprised, but I was pleasantly surprised that my first deck managed to take the first 2 games. Game 3, which was the Druid final, I felt like I had a good chance. Unfortunately, Pink Master transformed it into a Devil Store instead of a cute little squirrel. Even then, I thought I was going to be in pretty good shape. It ended up being that I believe the last card that Artosis drew was a Fireball when Team Double Ragnaros was set to destroy him soon. So that's too bad, a little too late.
Well, you prayed and you got 2 Ragnaroses, but it wasn't enough against Artosis' Mage deck. I do have to say one last thing, is that Mage won every game of this series, Trump. What do you think about that?
Well, sometimes fortune favors the Mage.
All right, well, good luck next time, Trump. Thanks for playing. And again, well played. I think you played a really excellent series. Hey everyone, I'm joining with Artosis on the desk. Dan, tell me, how does it feel when that moment you drew the Fireball?
It felt really, really good. I drew my card and I was actually still studying the board, seeing if there was any way out of it or what I could do. And then I kind of glanced down, I glanced up and saw that they only had 1 armor and 5 health, and it's a good feeling.
Cool. Walk me through the series a little bit, because you had a rough start and we all know that Paladin's a deck you feel really comfortable with. How did it all go wrong, but then how'd you turn it around?
Well, you know, I led with Warlock, and that's because we thought he was going to be playing Giants instead of Aggro Mage, because Trump is normally a control player. So I thought, okay, the Warlock is actually going to open okay against everything. And then it was that deck, and I ended up losing. It was, you know, the top deck of that Frostbolt killed me off, so that was a little bit frustrating. But then I was like, okay, I think that the Pally can probably take this out. I have a lot of heal. It's good against other minion decks, and yeah, that didn't work out. So that was a little bit frustrating, but I still felt like the Giants could take it back. I feel like I'm pretty good with Giants overall. I think that we have the best version of Giants on DogeHouse, and so I tried to play as flawlessly as possible. I talked it over with my teammates in between each round, because they're really the ones that have innovated that deck and made that deck what it is today. So they had some really good insight against each class, what Trump would be playing and the way that I should use my removal cards. So I just tried to play as good as possible, and it worked out.
What an incredible finish to an awesome series. Artosis defeats Trump 3-2 and puts Team DogeHouse up 1-0 over their opponents, Praise Ragnaros. Tune in tomorrow to find out what's going to happen, who will be playing. If that series is any indication, you don't want to miss it. See you next time.